The phone rang at 2:37 a.m. Robin Williams had been asleep for less than an hour. He'd just finished a late show at the Comedy Store, still buzzing from the adrenaline, still hearing the laughter echoing in his head. The voice on the other end was shaking. "Richard's in the hospital. He set himself on fire." Robin sat up in the dark, his heart pounding. What? Freebasing accident. They don't know if he's going to make it. Robin, still half asleep, tried to process what he was hearing. Richard Pryor, the greatest comedian alive, the man Robin had studied like scripture, the genius who could turn pain into laughter better than anyone who'd ever lived, was lying in a burn unit somewhere because cocaine had finally caught up to him. But what Robin didn't know yet, what he couldn't know in that moment, was that this phone call was a warning. A warning he'd spend the next 4 years trying to understand. A warning that would save his life, but couldn't save Richard's. And years later, when Robin's own silence came, people would look back at this moment and realize something devastating. Richard Pryor told Robin Williams exactly how to survive. Robin listened, he got sober, he did everything right, and it still wasn't enough. 1978, the Comedy Store, Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles. This was the temple. If you wanted to be a comedian, if you wanted to matter, you had to prove yourself here. And on any given night, the greatest comedians in the world were in that room. Richard Pryor was performing that night. Robin Williams was in the audience. Robin had been doing stand-up for a few years by then. He was good, really good. People were starting to notice. He'd just landed Mork and Mindy, the TV show that would make him famous. But he wasn't Richard Pryor famous. Nobody was. Richard walked onto that stage and the entire room changed. The air got thicker. People leaned forward. This wasn't just comedy. This was something else. Richard didn't tell jokes. He didn't do setups and punchlines. He became people, characters, voices. Pain turned into laughter so raw and real that you forgot you were watching a performance. Robin sat in the back, mesmerized. He'd seen Richard perform before, but tonight was different. Tonight, Richard was on fire, not literally, not yet, but creatively, spiritually, dangerously on fire. He was talking about his childhood, about his grandmother running a brothel, about growing up surrounded by violence and sex and survival. And he was making it hilarious, making it human, making it something the audience couldn't look away from. Robin watched every second, studied every pause, every voice shift, every moment where Richard took something painful and alchemized it into something the audience could laugh at. This was the blueprint. This was what Robin wanted to be able to do. After the set, Robin went backstage. He had to. He had to tell Richard what that performance meant. Richard was sitting in a folding chair, sweating, shaking slightly, drinking something clear from a plastic cup. Robin approached carefully. Richard. That was incredible. Man, that was. Richard looked up. His eyes were red, glassy, somewhere else. Oh, hey. You're the Mork guy, right? Yeah. Robin Williams. Richard nodded. You're funny, man. Fast. Real fast. Thanks. I wanted to say what you did out there. That's Richard cut him off, but not unkindly. You know what the secret is? Robin waited. The secret is, Richard said, leaning forward. You gotta go to the places that scare you. You gotta take the stuff that hurts and make people laugh at it. That's the job. Robin nodded. Yeah, I get that. Richard studied him for a moment. Do you? Because it'll cost you, man. It'll cost you everything. Robin didn't understand what Richard meant. Not yet. But he would. By 1979, Robin Williams was everywhere. Mork and Mindy was a massive hit. He was doing stand-up, getting movie offers, becoming famous fast. And with fame came access. Access to clubs, to parties, to people who had things that could make the exhaustion go away, make the pressure ease, make the constant need to be on feel manageable. Cocaine was everywhere in Hollywood in the late 70s. It wasn't hidden. It was casual, social, almost expected. And for performers like Robin, who lived on adrenaline and speed and manic energy, it felt like fuel. Robin started using. Not heavily at first, just enough to keep the engine running, to stay sharp, to keep performing at the level everyone expected. He told himself he had it under control. He wasn't like the people who couldn't stop. He wasn't like Richard, because by 1979, Richard Pryor's cocaine use wasn't casual anymore. It was public. It was destructive. It was spiraling. Robin would hear stories. Richard missed a show. Richard got into a fight. Richard's paranoid, erratic, losing weight, losing time. And Robin, watching from a distance, saw the future he was terrified of becoming. In late 1979, Robin ran into Richard at a party in the Hollywood Hills. The party was loud, chaotic, full of people who were famous and high and pretending neither mattered. Robin saw Richard standing alone on a balcony, staring out at the city lights. He walked over. Richard didn't turn around. "You ever feel like you're disappearing?" Richard said quietly. "What?" "Like people see you, but they don't see you. They see the guy on stage, the guy who makes them laugh. But you, the actual you, you're just gone." Robin didn't know what to say. Richard turned to face him. His eyes were hollowed out, exhausted. "You're gonna be huge, Robin. Bigger than me, probably. Just don't let them take you, man. Don't let the thing that makes you good be the thing that kills you." Robin wanted to ask what he meant, wanted to ask how you stopped that from happening. But Richard was already walking away, disappearing back into the crowd. June 9th, 1980. Richard Pryor set himself on fire. The official story was an accident. Freebasing cocaine. The pipe ignited. His body covered in rum, the flames spreading faster than he could react. He ran outside, engulfed, screaming, until neighbors tackled him and put the fire out. He was rushed to the hospital with third-degree burns over more than half his body. Doctors didn't know if he'd survive. Robin heard the news the next morning. He sat in his kitchen, staring at the phone, trying to process it. Richard Pryor, the man who seemed indestructible on stage, had nearly died. And it wasn't a heart attack. It wasn't a car accident. It was cocaine. It was the thing Robin was using too. For the first time, Robin felt real fear. Not fear of getting caught. Fear of becoming the story people told as a warning. 3 weeks later, when Richard was stable enough for visitors, Robin went to the hospital. He didn't call ahead. He just showed up, told the nurses who he was, and asked if Richard could see him. They let him in. Richard was in bed, wrapped in bandages, his face swollen, his voice raspy. Robin walked in and Richard smiled, barely. "Look at you, all worried." "I'm fine, man." Robin sat down. "Richard, what happened?" Richard closed his eyes. "I was trying to disappear. Thought if I got high enough, I could stop feeling everything. Turns out you can't outrun yourself, not even with fire." Robin's throat tightened. "I don't know what to say." Richard opened his eyes. "Don't say anything, just listen. You got the gift, Robin, I see it. You're fast, you're smart, you can become anybody. But that gift, it comes with a price. It makes you feel everything. And when you feel everything, you want to stop feeling. You understand?" Robin nodded. "So here's what I'm telling you," Richard continued, his voice stronger now. "Don't do what I did. Don't think the drugs are helping. They're not. They're just stealing time, and one day you wake up and realize you don't have any time left." Robin stayed for an hour. They didn't talk much after that. Richard was exhausted, in pain, barely holding on. But before Robin left, Richard grabbed his hand. "One of us should make it out, man. Make it you." 1982. John Belushi died. Cocaine overdose, March 5th, Chateau Marmont, Los Angeles. Robin had been with him the night before. Not when he died, but close enough. Close enough to feel the weight of it. Close enough to know that if he didn't stop, he'd be next. Robin quit cocaine cold. No rehab, no program, just stopped. He called Richard a few days later. "I'm out. I'm done." Richard's voice on the other end was quiet. "Good. That's good, man. You sure?" "I'm sure. I can't do this anymore. I saw what it did to John. I saw what it did to you. I'm not doing it." Richard was silent for a moment. Then, quietly, "I'm proud of you, Robin. I mean that." Robin's voice cracked. "I wish you'd stop too." Richard laughed, but it was a sad sound. "I'm too far gone, man. But you got a chance. Don't waste it." Robin wanted to argue, wanted to tell Richard he could stop too, that it wasn't too late, but he knew better. Richard wasn't going to stop. Richard couldn't stop. The thing that made him great, the thing that let him turn pain into art, was the same thing that was killing him. And Robin, for the first time, understood the real cost of genius. 1986. Richard Pryor was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. His body was breaking down. The years of cocaine, the fire, the damage, it was all catching up. He could barely walk. His hands shook. His voice, that perfect instrument, was starting to fail. Robin called him when he heard. "Richard, I'm so sorry." Richard's voice was weak but steady. "It's all right, man. I lived hard. This is just the bill coming due. Is there anything I can do?" Richard thought for a moment. "Yeah, keep making people laugh. Don't stop. Don't let them forget that comedy matters." Robin promised he would, and he kept that promise. Through the 90s, through the 2000s, Robin worked constantly. Movies, stand-up, TV, voices, characters, everything. He became one of the biggest stars in the world. Good Will Hunting, Dead Poets Society, Mrs. Doubtfire, Aladdin. He won an Oscar. He made billions laugh, but he never forgot what Richard told him. Don't let the gift kill you. Robin stayed sober. He went to meetings. He fought the exhaustion, the pressure, the constant need to be on. He did everything right. But what Robin didn't know, what Richard hadn't told him because Richard didn't know either, was that sobriety wasn't the same as safety. That you could quit the drugs and still lose the war. That some wounds don't heal just because you stop bleeding. December 10th, 2005. Richard Pryor died. Heart attack, complications from MS, a body that had been through too much for too long. Robin spoke at the memorial service. Hundreds of people packed into the church. Comedians, actors, musicians, everyone whose life Richard had touched. Robin stood at the podium and looked out at the crowd. "Richard Pryor," Robin began, his voice shaking slightly, "was the greatest comedian I ever saw. Not just technically, not just because he was fearless, because he took the pain that most people run from and he turned it into something we could all recognize, something human. He taught me that comedy isn't about making people laugh. It's about making them feel less alone." Robin paused, collecting himself. "When I was starting out, Richard told me something I didn't understand at the time. He said the gift comes with a price. He said it'll cost you everything. And I watched him pay that price. I watched him burn, literally and figuratively. I watched him lose his body, his health, his time, but he never stopped being brilliant. He never stopped being true, and that's the part I'll never forget." Robin looked down, tears in his eyes. "Richard told me once, one of us should make it. He wanted me to be the one who survived. And I tried. I got sober. I stayed working. I did everything he said. But here's what I'm realizing now. Richard did make it. He made it because his work will live forever. Because every comedian who comes after him is standing on ground he cleared. Because he proved that you could take the worst pain imaginable and make it beautiful. That's surviving. That's winning." Robin stepped away from the podium. The church was silent. No one knew how to follow that. 2009. Robin Williams relapsed. Not cocaine, alcohol. The pressure was back, the exhaustion, the roles that didn't work, the feeling of irrelevance creeping in. The thing Richard warned him about was happening anyway, just slower. Robin checked into rehab, got sober again, fought his way back. But something had shifted. The fight was getting harder. 2014. Robin Williams was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, a degenerative brain disease that causes hallucinations, confusion, motor control loss, depression. He didn't know what it was at the time. The doctors thought it was Parkinson's. But Robin knew something was wrong. His mind, the thing he'd relied on his entire life, was betraying him. He couldn't remember lines, couldn't focus, couldn't be the person everyone needed him to be. And the worst part was the fear that he was disappearing, just like Richard said. August 11th, 2014. Robin Williams died. The official cause was suicide, but the autopsy later revealed the Lewy body dementia, the disease that had been destroying his brain, the thing he'd been fighting alone because he didn't know what it was. The world was shocked. How could the funniest man alive, the man who made millions laugh, take his own life? But the people who knew, the people who'd watched Richard Pryor burn and fade and fight until there was nothing left, they understood. They understood that genius and pain are sometimes the same thing, that making people laugh doesn't mean you're not suffering, that you can do everything right and still lose. When the news broke, people started sharing clips. Robin on stage, Robin in movies, Robin making talk show hosts laugh so hard they cried. And buried in those clips, someone found an old interview from 1998. The interviewer asked Robin about Richard Pryor. Robin's face softened. "Richard taught me everything," Robin said. "He taught me how to be fearless, how to take risks, how to turn pain into something people could connect with. But he also taught me something darker. He taught me that the thing that makes you great can also destroy you. And you have to decide every single day which one it's going to be." The interviewer asked, "Did you decide?" Robin smiled, but his eyes were sad. "I'm still deciding. There's a comedy club in Los Angeles where they keep photos of legends on the wall. Richard Pryor is there. Robin Williams is next to him. Two men who made the world laugh harder than almost anyone in history. Two men who suffered in ways the audience never saw. Two men who told each other the truth when no one else would. Richard Pryor told Robin Williams, "Don't let the gift kill you." Robin tried. He got sober. He fought. He survived decades longer than Richard thought he would. But in the end, the gift took them both. Not because they were weak, not because they didn't try hard enough, because some battles can't be won by effort alone, because genius burns hot and fast, and sometimes there's no way to turn it off without losing yourself completely. Richard Pryor made it to 65. Robin Williams made it to 63. Both gone too soon. Both missed every single day. And both, in their own way, still making people laugh. Still teaching the next generation what it means to be fearless. Still proving that comedy, real comedy, costs everything. The last thing Richard Pryor said to Robin Williams in one of their final conversations before Richard's voice failed completely was this: "You did good, man. You stayed clean. You stayed working. You stayed true. I'm proud of you." Robin, crying on the other end of the line, said, "I wish you were still here." Richard's voice, barely a whisper now, "I am. Every time you make someone laugh, I'm there. That's how we live forever." 2 months later, Richard couldn't speak anymore. 6 years after that, Robin was gone. But the laughter remains. The clips, the specials, the movies, the voices, the characters. The proof that two men took their pain and made it into something the world will never forget. And maybe that's the real lesson. Not that they lost, but that they gave everything they had. And in doing so, they made the world a little less lonely. If this story moved you, if it made you think about the price of genius and the cost of laughter, share it. Because Robin and Richard's legacy isn't just the jokes. It's the reminder that the people who make us laugh are often fighting battles we can't see. And sometimes, the kindest thing we can do is remember them not for how they died, but for how bravely they lived.